Now let's look forward. There's not just an earthquake, there's a rift valley between what we've heard from a Sri Lankan small farmer and the kind of thing you've been saying, Sean Rickard, about essentially the industrialization. They are poles apart when it comes to understanding the principles ahead.
They are, but at least I have on my side, many years of evidence. If we're going to learn from history, we should learn two things. One is ultimately we do have to allow the market to decide these things. Otherwise, you get the sort of gross over-support that we've had in Europe to detriment of the third world, etc. That's because in the end, politics overtook the markets, and it's quite wrong. So ultimately, you do have to make sure the markets rule. The second thing is, ecology was mentioned here. I have never met a farmer who had a vested interest in leaving his land in a worse position than when it started. Good farmers automatically look after the land. If we encourage good farmers to survive, and that frankly means a smaller population of farmers, we'll deliver two things. We'll deliver a better climate, we'll deliver better ecology, and we'll also deliver the food people need.
This whole issue of climate change and ecology, we can sit here debating which farmers or which monopolies control what. But the bottom line is there's a phenomenon, climate droughts and floods, in frequencies that farmers have never seen them before, which may overtake all of this. And I think we need to spend, more time saying, how are we going to manage water for farmers when there's increasing drought? How are we going to control the flash floods that some of them feel? And then, which the water disappears and they have nothing, to what. These, to me, are fundamental issues.
Raj Patel, you have described in your book the market terrain as, quote, not so much a level playing field as a razor's edge. How much is this going to change?
I think it has to change.
But will it change?
Well, I think there's everything to play for. I don't see that the future is set in stone one way or another. And I do think that what we can hope for is something we've never seen in history before. That Sean, what we've never seen is farmers democratically taking over and making farm policy. That's never happened. Farm policy has always been done through expert bodies with the minimum amount of consultation.
Where will you be in 5 or 10 years with your 1/8 of 1 acre, Sarath?
Looking at millions of such people, I believe that the whole world requires that their agenda should be given space. Otherwise, the world will not survive. I'm saying it because these small farmers with no resources, no capital, no agricultural inputs, no machinery, have a much more efficient way of their own recovery and recovery of the rest of the world.
Yeah, in case face, do you believe you're going to be strangling even more what we're talking about and what we've been airing here on the World Debate?
I don't think we're one of the bottleneck corporations that was referred to. I think we have...
But you have enormous control and influence.
Over some parts of markets, yes, we do. And in those markets, like the tea market, we are making changes which are in favor of small farmers, because we have no choice. If we want to survive as a business, we will have to involve small farmers in our supply chains.
Finally, Gary Howe, where do you think things will be? How difficult will it be? Will we still be getting these enormous price rises because of the stress on both supplies and growth?
I think we've heard that supply can expand. That's not an issue. Supply can expand. The question is, on what basis? That the level of productivity in so much agricultural land in the world is so low. The potential is so great. The question is, how do you grasp that potential and in whose hands? I think while we're looking for a balance, that nobody feels that small farmers are the answer to all the supply question. But on the other hand, if you think that industrial farming is the answer to all questions, you're going to have a social and ecological disaster. We're looking for a balance here. Who's going to make that balance? Partly it's informed people, but partly it's farmers themselves. It's farmers themselves having a voice in policy, explaining to people who don't understand agriculture what the key issues are. If we can get that voice, if we can have an understanding, the question is not always conflict, but complementarity between large and small, then we can be in a better situation in 5 years than we are today.
Well, we've heard 6 voices here. Thank you all very much indeed. In what is a very complex argument, we've tried to simplify it. We've also tried to get over the main principles and what we've highlighted, the reasons why when you buy food in the coming months and years, the price keeps rising and probably squeezing your budget, especially for something like a loaf of bread. The big structural change is on the way as food production struggles to give you the food you want and at the price you can afford. From me, Nick Gowing, and the BBC World Debate here in Rome, thank you all very much indeed. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.